Always remember that Howard knows Jimmy Kimmel, and that's why this matters. Yeah. Went to his wedding. He got married in Ojai, everybody.
Yeah, but it's not that
Howard or
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel?
It's a different Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Okay.
5, 4, right. And why?
You're very good at this today.
I think I did the test.
Wow. You're just...
Just go with it.
Yes, we are Our Place Out Loud. I am your lovely and captivating host, Louise Palenko. I'm taking off my headphones, Matt, because I cannot hear anything through them.
I think I just fixed it.
Yeah, they just turned back on.
It wasn't Ryan's fault?
No, I just fixed it.
Hello? No, I just think they're not plugged in.
Oh, we can hear it.
So we have a really full house tonight. Lots of lovely and captivating people. We've got Montana, Kiamute, Ryan, Maddie, Aaron, Austin, Alex, Jake, Iceman, and Charge, Justin. And visiting from Austin, Texas, and many homes around the world, Catherine Winters, everybody. That was so immediate and spontaneous and whimsical.
That's why I get paid the $0.
Yay! Your check is in the mail. So we are tonight going to be talking about some blog posts that I read this week that I just found very thought-provoking and as topical as today's headlines. The first one was from, it seemed like it was from like a mother who has a blog and kind of blogs week in and week out or month in and month out, what have you. I'm not sure of her name. But she wrote a blog that actually caught fire, and it went kind of viral. And the blog was about whether she's addressing young ladies. She's like, "Hey, young lady, not just my sons look at your Instagram selfies. I look at them, and if they're not appropriate for my sons as a family, we delete you." Seems like like funner than game night, right?
Yes.
Like it's like
Seems
it's
like awkwarder than game night.
eliminate the skank. Is it? Well, I can't say skank on the pot. No, okay.
Well,
Now
in
you
her
said it
words,
twice.
I mean,
You're making it worse.
You'll fix it, right, Matt? I meant inappropriately dressed young lady in the mirror trying to be provocative. That's all I meant by it. And SK something. So
Okay.
Matt's distracting me because he's on the floor trying to fix my headphones.
No, was that the was that the one, Louise, where
You
the
can't-
mother wrote to teenage boys about?
She wrote
What
to
they
teenage
should-
girls. Did you see it? It was all over Facebook.
There was another one that was written to teenage boys about
Oh.
don't post pictures to my daughter's Facebook page with you in a towel or showing off your abs and stuff like that because we will delete you immediately.
Well, it may have been a response to this one
Okay.
because it,
Yeah, like gender switched.
right. It was just all the rage this week. So
well, that was part of the response to this
So
one. that
I
we're gonna
sent you
read.
guys the blog post, so hopefully everybody has read the blog post and then the response from my friend Guy Branham, who he read her blog post and he found it to be offensive, and I thought that we could possibly discuss is there a double standard in terms of what boys can post, what girls can post on Instagram, on Facebook, or what have you, and in terms of your own self-respect. What's happening with kids is that you guys now have a platform through which you can express your personality. And if I had that at 12, it just wouldn't have been a good thing because I wasn't, I just had nothing of interest to say. So what a lot of kids are doing is they're posting selfies and they're trying to get likes and they're living sort of by like how many people like my picture or comment my picture. So they may go to like increasing lengths to get someone to like their picture. And for girls, they may be like dressing a little bit more provocatively or whatever. So this mom wrote a blog post and basically it was addressing the girls and it was saying, if you dress this way and take a picture of yourself, my sons will be deleting you from their follow group in Instagram. And this was immediately followed by a lot of people responding, like Iceman, I think maybe you saw. And, on this show, I very publicly said I don't want boys with profile pictures on Our Place who are shirtless. I don't want you showing us your six-pack or it's just as inappropriate for boys as it is, thank you, Matt, as it is for girls. So I wanted to hear what you guys thought of, let's start with blog number 1, the mom's blog. And any thoughts on that blog or the advice that she was offering? Ryan?
Well, I mean, I think she definitely made a couple good points there. And, I mean, the idea that I'm a teenage guy and I have a Facebook, and there are girls uploading pictures that she's talking about that I agree with the point she's making, but at the same time she definitely did take it, I think, a little step further than she needed to, having these family meetings where she tells her sons to delete these friends' accounts off their Facebook and stuff like that, because I don't think that I think that's like, as a teenage boy, I don't want my parents, nor do I think that my parents should be running my social life. They should definitely be able to like know who I'm hanging out with and stuff, but I don't think they should be the people who get to tell me who I'm allowed to hang around. I mean, to an extent, if I'm hanging with people who are actually making really bad decisions and influencing me, that's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
But she said there's zero tolerance. You upload one picture to Facebook and you're done. And it's that kind of thing that's just like, that's too much. I think that's too much of a parent controlling their kid's social life and not leaving it to the kid.
Montana?
I think she's being very unrealistic, because like, not only does this show up in like Facebook or Instagram, but like a lot of girls when they go to school will just wear like a sheer top and like a bandeau or a bra or something, or not, and that happens. It's not necessarily the right thing, the most appropriate thing, I guess, but she isn't realizing that her sons are going to see that, and I think she needs to address her sons like, okay, some girls are going to post naked pics of themselves online. Don't like try not to follow these women because they could be like insecure, and these are not the kind of people you want to be hanging around, and say the reason why. Or maybe that's just how they're choosing to express themselves, or like they're at the beach or something, which in that case it seems a little bit too much. Like, well, you're not gonna put on a parka to take a photo if you're at the beach.
No, I think there's a difference between wearing what would be, considered standard beach attire for a 15-year-old girl, which would be like a nice bikini, and posing provocatively in a mirror, making the fish face, and trying with your tongue out or whatever, trying to be obviously sexual.
Well, then in that way, then yes, they are, well, obviously trying to get some sort of sexual response from that, but it's not like it's their own job for themselves to not do that, but they should, but it's not the kids' job to like, it's not the kids' job to like censor that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Montana, you have a really good point. Is that the mother's being really sort of unrealistic? She's like, I feel this way, so the entire world should change to fit my worldview, as opposed to saying, as opposed to saying, okay, so this is apparently how the world is. I should try to make sure my sons understand that and make sure that they are good people within the context of that world, which I think is something that gets touched on in the response blog that we'll be talking about soon.
Well, one of the things that I've found, I did post the blog, and that's where my friend Guy saw the blog and wrote his rebuttal. But what I liked about the blog was it was saying to girls, this is not how I want my sons to know you. I want them to know you and not your body, and I don't want them to think of this provocative photo every time they look at you. And once they see an image, they can't unsee it. There were many good points made in the blog. The last sentence of the blog I thought was like entirely unrealistic. She was saying how she was fighting an uphill battle to keep her son's thoughts pure. And I'm like, lady, if you think that you can keep a teenage boy's thoughts pure, then you have never been a teenage boy, which you never have been, so you have no idea. And I don't think any woman on this planet will ever have an idea. And to make a boy feel like that he's less than pure for having normal sexual thoughts is just not, that's not realistic or kind to her sons. And let me see, Maddie.
I think that her idea of wanting to help her sons not see every girl as what the girls who are posting those pictures are doing, like to not kind of like think that that's what all girls do and that's how all girls are. I think her idea and her thinking is right, but I think that the way she's kind of, enforcing it upon her sons is not the good way to help them understand what she's trying to help them understand. Like, I don't think that she's getting it to them the right way. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion.
In other words, like a family discussion about, well, I don't have to look at every person you follow on Instagram, but just please know that if a woman, like the point that Montana made, if a girl is presenting herself this way, she's probably kind of insecure. Aaron?
Right, but like, wouldn't a better conversation to have, like, with your kids about this isn't if you see some girl posting a picture of herself in a bikini or whatever, defriend her. Wouldn't a better conversation have is, remember, there's more to every person than just what they look like. You should learn to appreciate who they are beyond just, the facade of the body. I mean, there's a whole world inside each person, and you got to understand that. It's not just, the little picture from space kind of deal.
Right, but her point being, like, once you've presented yourself this way, it's permanent, it's on the internet, and it's the visual image that's going to stick in my son's brain every time he looks at you.
But that doesn't mean that image will define how they view the girl. I mean, the boy, if you're going to say this is the girl's responsibility and they're bad for doing this, then the boy's like, okay, well, then I guess I'm free to think what I want about them, and it is up to this girl to not post pictures of this if they want me to see them as humans.
I think
and not just objectify them.
I think that's the point she was trying to make.
No, not at all.
That's what I picked up on from it.
No. That's the response was talking about what I just said. The original post was basically like, I agree with what you were saying about how it's sort of like shaming the boys for, like, for feeling certain ways about girls or whatever. But and how it's not realistic, right? But it's also not. The same goes for how she's for what she's saying about the girls, right? It's like it's vilifying the girls for posting a picture, right? I mean,
she was scolding girls and saying, you're not helping me raise good boys. You're making it really difficult.
Right, but her definition of good is not compatible with the real world. And it's also not really good. I mean, it's like the inversion of good. It's like something pretending to be good.
And the other point she was really trying to make was she was trying to speak to the girls and say, like, look, if you're trying to get the hall boys' attention, this is not the way to do it.
The Hall boy, this is the Hall family we're talking about.
Yes, we're talking about the Hall family. So she was just saying, like, I know you girls are looking for attention. If you're trying to get my really adorable son's attention, don't do this. That's the ultimate point she was trying to make. Ryan.
I have to disagree with you on what she was getting at, and I definitely think she went about it the wrong way, and that there was an extent of her vilifying, or whatever the word is, vilifying the girls for doing this. But at the same time, like, she definitely touched on the idea at the end that she said something to the extent of, like, you're growing into beautiful women, speak that, be that, embody that, whatever it is. And she touches on the idea that if you want to present yourself as objects, my sons will not be around you. And she also vilified them for showing themselves as objects. But it doesn't mean, like she went about it too harshly, I think. But I think that she definitely meant it in the sense of, like, encouraging girls, but she came across a lot differently than she intended.
Right, but Ryan, isn't it equally important for the guys to dig into every person and see that they're people and not just...
Well, yeah, but I think she's saying that if you present yourself as an object, people are going to start seeing you as an object, and she's not saying that.
But they don't. Says who? Like in the society.
That's just her argument. I'm not. But at the same time, like, I think it's just. I mean, it's the idea of her. She shouldn't, like, my opinion, she shouldn't be trying to change everyone around her kids, and she shouldn't be trying to shield her kids from what's going on. She just basically say, here's how it is. Here, I may want it to be different, but with the circumstances we have, here's how I want to raise my kids, and they're my kids. I get to parent them and not everyone else.
Right, like, Ryan, I mean, like the basic core of what she's saying is, why can't people just see each other as people and get along on that level? And on that sense, yes, I guess I can agree with what she's saying. But how she goes about it twists the message so just bizarrely. It's not even, it's hard to even listen to.
I agree with that, but I think any woman in this room would discourage young girls from posting pictures like that. So I think that's what she's ultimately trying to do at the most basic level. And then it becomes an argument of, you're making it hard for me to raise my boys, which is not valid. Right. I mean, even if it does make it difficult, that's not, like, a really valid, like, she needs to take on the role of parenting her boys instead of writing a long letter to girls. She should be writing that long letter to her sons or whatever it may be.
Let's let Olivia jump in on this conversation. We've got Olivia on the phone. Have you been following along, Liv?
No.
Oh. All right. Well, then you're going to just have to listen to us, because we've been discussing the blog posts that I sent out in the email today. Go ahead, Maddie.
One of the main feelings I got from her post is that exactly what you said, is that young women are making it hard for her to raise her boys. Mm-hmm. That's not fair to say. It's not the young girl's responsibility to help her raise her children.
Or shield her from the reality of life. As
exactly.
Said,
it's not like, just because she doesn't want her boys to see that, every girl that exists on the internet should not post anything while she's raising her children. It's just, it's not a fair thing to say.
Right.
Tio?
Yeah, it's an interesting argument. I think that she's trying to send the message that young girls should not post these pictures, but unintentionally she's sending a message that if young girls send these pictures, then this is what all people do think about them and should think about them.
I see. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Aaron?
Also, like, talking about how, like, going back to the issue that you guys keep bringing up, which is, like, saying it's making it difficult to raise my sons. Well, I know that if I had a kid, I'd be more happy, or I'd be happier with a kid who could, like, meet a girl who posts pictures like this and doesn't, like, approach her from that side of her. Instead, like, gets to know her. Like, I'd be much happier with, like, a guy who treats everyone like a person,
Well, what if
no
you
matter what.
What if you had a daughter and you went into her Instagram feed and there were all these boys posing very provocatively with their shirts off and with other things on display? Would you be concerned that your daughter was following people that would post those types of pictures?
I'd be creeped out.
Yeah.
I guess that would depend, maybe. Certainly,
so I guess
maybe.
Try and look at it from the point of view of a mom who's trying to raise good people who don't have really sexual stuff in their Facebook feed or in their Instagram feed. Like, go ahead, Keo.
I would talk to my daughter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell her don't like. I wouldn't tell her not to interact with those people. I would ask her, like, who are all these boys, and try and teach her about how people are and things like
and
that.
what this
Right.
means. Like,
Yeah.
like a person that would post like this, here's what this probably says a lot about his personality or go ahead, Montana.
I think it's also unfair for, like, the rule of you post a picture like this one time, we ban you, because, like what some of the response was saying was this might be part of their sexual development. They don't know how to fully come into themselves, so they do this.
All right, so let me back
lot
up
of
for a
it-
second and say that Montana is now responding to Guy's response. And
his name is Guy?
His name is Guy Branum, yes.
Oh.
So he's one of, I guess, many people that had a counter post to this very controversial blog entry. Can you go ahead and discuss what his point was?
Oh, okay. So his point was that you are just no, sorry, not you. She, the lady who was saying this, Mrs. Hall, was just further objectifying women in a more perverse way, like slut shaming in a sense. Like, oh, you dress like this, you must be a terrible person.
Right.
You are not worthy of my sons. You are not allowed to be around my sons, sort of thing.
Right.
And he says that girls like this, because of all the sexualization of the media, like, we're provoked to do stuff like this and experiment. And while it may not always be the best thing for us, like, people make mistakes, especially in their teenage years.
Yes.
And, like, people have bad photos taken of them sometimes and posted on Instagram. Sometimes they do it themselves, sometimes without their knowledge, but they shouldn't be, like, punished and shamed for
life.
or for
Right.
something like that.
And we see something worth noting is that when Mrs. Hall first posted her blog post, remember how, like, okay, for those of you who find this online, you'll notice that there are images of, like, her hanging out with her family and whatever. But up until very recently, those images were different. Those images were of her sons, like, playing at the beach, wearing nothing but swimsuits, and she hadn't even realized, it hadn't even occurred to her. And that is just so poignant.
The hypocrisy of
Yes.
posting pictures of her sons topless while she was
Absolutely.
making a point about how girls should be discreet. Go ahead, Keo.
I think the fact that she took down those pictures because she said something about how she realized that she did that and it's like she thinks it's wrong. I think she's missing the point, the fact that she took down those pictures and put them up with something else. She's missing the main argument, which is that you shouldn't just judge someone's character just by pictures.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Keo. I thought it was interesting how calmly she responded to the criticism and removed the pictures and kept her blog post exactly intact. But I also thought that it was very curious that for some reason her brain didn't click into why it wouldn't be a good idea of all the pictures she has of her children to post those particular pictures. It almost felt like something subconscious was telling her that these are pictures of people being appropriate, wearing not a lot of clothing, and and everything my boys do is perfect. I don't
Yeah,
even know. It was like
a little
so. It was kind of pathological. It was kind of weird, but I admired the way she just calmly took them down and replaced them with other pictures without getting into arguments with people.
How she did that was she deactivated the comments.
Yeah,
Like people weren't allowed to comment after a while. She said, "I have been inundated with comments, and I'm shutting it down." So she didn't just she just stopped dealing with it.
What was
That's
going
how.
on in her brain to have those be the photograph? Because that was one of the main things that Guy was responding to, and his counterpoint was like, how can you say that girls can't pose provocatively and put pictures of your sons in swimsuits doing muscle poses, which could be seen as like, look how hot I am. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, no, I haven't seen the pictures, and I've only read Guy's response to get an idea of what was there. But and so again, like, correct me if I'm wrong, because you just mentioned that they were doing muscle poses, which I didn't know. I thought it was just like them playing around on the beach.
A lot of it was.
And so for me, like, there's a total difference between uploading a picture of yourself at the beach and uploading a picture of yourself, like she described, like not wearing a bra, like posing, blah blah blah. Those are two totally different things.
I thought so too, and I
And
thought
so-
if there were a daughter in there in a swimsuit playing at the beach or looking
She
out at the
wouldn't-
water, like one of them was her son sitting on a rock looking out at the water. There was nothing
Right,
provocative.
I don't think she would have had an issue with that either if it was a girl.
I don't
and
think so
And
either.
also, I think that if someone were to make the case that it's just as wrong to have guys without shirts on, then that's a societal issue and not really her issue. But
Right, and it kind of is. I mean, like this is about societal issues.
I guess.
she's just like the boiling point kind of.
I guess
so,
that's
Olivia,
true,
you've
but-
heard enough of the argument now to weigh in.
Okay, well, we're talking about like people who post pictures of like themselves, like girls taking selfies nude.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Mm-hmm.
And
Not even necessarily nude, by the
she's
way.
a mom, right?
She's a mom, and she kind of sits with her sons and goes over like who they follow, and then she'll delete photos of girls that are too provocative and tell her boys, these are not people I want you associating with.
she'll unfriend them.
Yeah.
Block them.
I mean, okay, I agree with her. I don't. Well, I mean, it depends how old the boys are, in my opinion.
They're about 15, 16, 14, like that.
Okay, I feel like, well, at 18, she can't have any control over that. But like, I mean, while they're still like under her roof, they have to do what she says.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I went and I did it. I went and a lot of my brother's friends, like younger girls, friended me on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and they would post pictures of themselves in nothing but like bra and a shorts, and like that was it. And I went and I reported the photo.
Oh,
And
excellent.
I went through every single photo that like would come up on my news feed, and if it was just like a 13-year-old girl in nothing but a bra and shorts, I reported the photo in their Facebook.
And Olivia,
would
I
either
really
be, like,
love
deactivated.
that you're weighing in right now, because I do follow a lot of kids to promote the Our Place app, and I really love that you're aware of what kids are posting, because I don't think Guy is fully aware of what kids are posting and how damaging it is. And you
no,
are.
no. Like, I kid you not. Like, I mean, I'm very close with my brother's friend, and she's my friend, actually, Zoe. And so a bunch of her friends went and added me on Facebook, and I sat there on the computer with her once, and a picture came up of a girl her age that she's very close with, not wearing a shirt at all, using her arm to cover what boobs she has at 13, and bikini bottoms. And then it was like she tagged her friend and was like, I'm just going to make up a name, like Boston Ballet Photography. And it was like, no, that's not photography. That's an iPhone photo that you took in your bathroom, and you're not wearing a shirt, and then you got 3,000 likes because you shared your own photo
Oh, my
multiple
God.
times.
That's awful. Jakey, did you have a point? 1 second, Aaron.
I did, and I think I'm on camera now.
Okay, excellent.
Okay. This is like when you come over to a friend's house and you bring over a video game and their mom's like, ooh, is there violence in that? I don't want my kids seeing that. How would they understand that? Well, you should talk to them. You can't filter society for your child for their whole life. You have to make them smart enough to be able to deal with society.
So that they would
Definitely.
have their own discerning viewpoints and
Yeah, exactly. So that
understand-
they can intelligently make decisions for themselves instead of just be scared from it and isolated from it.
instead of just being told around the kitchen table, delete, delete, delete. Okay, good point. Aaron.
And Austin.
And then Austin.
Austin, I'll toss it to you after.
Austin
in a
is
second.
kind of hoarse tonight, so his words are going to be very well chosen and extremely wise,
Yes,
because they've been filtered down to their essence.
yes.
Okay, go ahead, Aaron.
But like the difference is like, okay, like Olivia, you reported that picture, and that's great because that girl actually, like, she's going through some problems, like that. That's what it feels like because
No, like I kid you not, it was probably at least 15 different girls that I reported because they were they were like 14 years old, and I don't know if you guys know the store Brandy Melville.
Yeah.
You
No.
probably do. And it's like they have an Instagram, and it's like 18 and up girls though, like, wearing their little bralettes and shorts. And it's like, I get that because that's what the store is. But it's like these girls, they go to that store, and then they're like, oh, well, that's on their Instagram. I'm going to take the exact same picture. But it's like, no, you're 12 years old.
right.
Excellently
Yeah,
said.
now-
Excellently said.
Right, and the point that I'm trying to make is that yes, that was good. That's important because that's an issue that person's having. But that's not the same thing as some friends out at the beach taking pictures of like just silly pictures, whatever.
No, that's not.
Right, exactly.
Like,
And
there are pictures of me on Facebook at the beach.
Right,
But, like,
exactly.
I mean, I wear a shirt, but that's me. But like my friends are in those pictures, and it's different,
Right, but she's saying that even that might not be acceptable. Like she's not talking about
I don't
like
think she was saying that's not
She didn't
acceptable.
say that at all.
She
It's
didn't
not.
say that. She never said beach photos were unacceptable because she had pictures of her kids at the beach.
She said something about
right, and then she
specific-
took them down.
But
because of
people
complaints
made
she
it-
got
yeah.
from people that said, "Oh, boys can dress this way." They weren't seeing they weren't seeing the fine print, which is, it's not a boy-girl thing. It's these kids are at the beach playing. They're not in their mirror, in their bedroom, in their towel, showing their boobs. Excuse me. Go ahead, Aaron.
Okay, but one key point that was made in the response,
The rebuttal.
yes, was that these guys on the beach, right? Like they're flexing their muscles, right? And like that's in response to having a camera there, taking a picture of them, right? You don't act naturally in front of a camera. You play it up for the camera, and that goes for everybody. I mean, like
One of them, just to be fair, because I saw the blog when the old photos were up. One of them was a gymnastics photo where the boys were posed like a cheerleading squad where they were balanced on top of each other. It was completely just fun. One was a boy sitting on a rock looking out over at the ocean, and the other was like a couple of her sons just going, like this because they saw the camera. There was nothing sexual at all in the photos that she had up there. Ryan.
Austin.
I mean,
Oh, the wise one. Sorry, Ryan.
Sorry.
You're next. Austin.
My whole view in a nutshell: both boys and girls should be able to post certain photos of themselves within reason.
Was that a haiku?
I think we should all just. I think we should all just go home. We are Our Place Out Loud. I'm Louise Palanker here with a panel of wise and wonderful children, and Ryan has a point.
yeah, I just wanted to. Well, I mean, I totally agree with a lot of what's been said.
Yeah, we're going to
and-
jump off the phone with Olivia real quick, so the phone line is open. We love you and we miss you.
Bye.
Go ahead.
Bye.
Bye, honey.
So, I mean, I definitely see the reason that she, and I agree with the reason that she wasn't mad at girls for being at the beach in bikinis and guys for it's like when you post it with it's a clearly different intention. And there's one thing to pose for a camera. It's one thing to intentionally take a picture of yourself with the intention of that pose being sexual. Like, they're two totally different things. And even though they can
Exactly.
be seen, it's more people twisting it. If you're okay with this, I'd like to read a part of the response just because I like the way it was worded so much.
Yes, please.
Okay, so she said in her original post, she goes, sorry, let me find this. All right, yeah. I think boys are noticing other things. For one, it appears you're not wearing your bra. I get it. You're in your room, so you're heading to bed, right? And then she goes on about that, right? I can't help but notice the red carpet pose. And then the response goes,
This guy's response.
yeah, I get it. They're having a good time, enjoying the summer, and wearing what seems to be comfortable for a dip, right? But I also couldn't help notice the smiles and poses for the camera. And it's just like, I love the way he uses the same
Yeah,
wording.
he did a really good job.
Yeah.
Keo.
right, like sorry.
Sorry, I got to let Keo talk here, Aaron. I'm sorry.
I want to talk about what Olivia was saying she does and what I think the difference between the message that the mother is sending, because Olivia was saying that she reported the people's pictures. That's not quite the same as saying these people are bad people or
Exactly.
these people are whores.
I like, like Olivia's like all business.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm just going to take the personalities out of this and just report the pictures. They're inappropriate and they're kind of like basically child pornography. 1 second, Maddie, because we've got Mrs. Colfer holding on the phone. Hello, Mrs. Colfer.
Yo.
Hello.
Have you been listening to the conversation, my love?
Yes, I have.
Do you have any thoughts?
the one thing I have to say is, shouldn't the parents kind of know the kids?
Oh my God, that's such a good point. Like, why are you even following people you don't know? Exactly. That's a really good point. Like, if your kid is over 18, he can follow whoever he wants. If he's under 18, why don't you know the people he's following? Like, that's a really excellent point.
From what it sounded like, she did know the people.
Oh,
she just
did.
defriended them anyway.
Oh, I see.
She's like, no, these are family friends, but I don't care. You're cut out.
Okay.
That's what she said.
Got it. Maddie?
This is actually a little bit separate to what we moved on to, but I'm so happy that Olivia brought up Brandy Melville because they have interesting pieces of clothing that, yes, in their advertisements, pictures in their store and on their website are worn by people who are over 18. And then I think what the original blog poster should have done is spoken to the parents out there and said, show your daughters that that's for, people who are over 18. It's not pictures that you should be posing like. You shouldn't be mimicking those photos.
And what's interesting is, like, I don't know how much the mom knows about the kids or where they're influenced because, we don't know where kids are watching stuff. Like when Olivia called, we heard in a whole different perspective from her point of view in this clothing store. I don't think Mrs. Hall knows exactly what is influencing the kids. She may actually be talking to the parents. This was just an open blog post to teenage girls everywhere. We're going to say goodbye to you, Mrs. Colfer, so you can keep your record going, but we want to leave the phone lines open for Bree, who wants to call. Austin?
I think reading into the intentions about whether who posted the picture may or may not have been trying to be overly sexual or whatever, I think that's reading too far into it because their exact intent we can never know. So I think Olivia's approach of just looking at the picture and whether that's appropriate is the best way to go.
Very well said, Austin.
Totally
Ryan.
agree.
Right.
I was going to say that, like, on more the topic of, like, Brandy Melville and advertising in the sense that these are people who are over 18, but then you have younger kids seeing that.
Always.
Because
Abercrombie & Fitch as well.
Exactly. Well, and it's I think every clothing company does that. They advertise with older people, but it's reflected to younger people.
Yeah.
Even, like, people who aren't 12 and 14, but people who are, like, 16 and 17 in my school are dressing in ways I don't even want to see them dressed, let alone they shouldn't be dressing. You know what I mean? And it's, like, especially showing up to school. So I think part of it has to do with just the way that we've set up a culture around
what we value. Or
exactly.
Or perceive what...
Or not even what we value, but what we want more so than what we value. Because, like, it's just stuff... Like, people are wearing see-through shirts to school like that are just like like string, and then there's just it's mostly holes and a little bit of string.
Do you think that they think it's cute, or do you think that they think that is what will make them well liked or appreciated?
It's both, but I think the underlying one is that it'll make them well liked. But then they get dress coded and they're like, oh, I don't know why I'm dress coded, and I'm like, oh, maybe because you're basically just wearing a bra to school. And it's like,
let's go to the phones. Sorry. Hello, Bree.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing? Would you want to weigh in on this topic?
Yeah, are we still talking about the article?
We are.
Okay. Well, I think the woman was kind of psycho. I think she was kind of off from reality.
Okay.
I mean, she had a few good points. Like, you shouldn't be posting nude pictures online. That's just crazy. But, I mean, to force her children to delete, like, friends.
As a family activity?
That's too far.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think that's too far. I mean, you should be able to rule your own life. I mean, they're kids, they're growing up. They need to learn how to deal with their own social life.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's kind of being too much of a helicopter parent.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I maybe
like
would
that term.
I like
Me
that.
too.
Yeah, I like that. I think that maybe she would pick up the phone and kind of like scroll through the pictures and then put the phone down and say, "Boys, let's have a conversation." Would that be like a healthier way to do it?
Yeah.
Because I mean, even if they're not seeing their friends dressed that way, they're seeing women dressed that way on the internet. They are alive on planet Earth, and we do have Wi-Fi. So, and they are boys. So, there's no way they're not seeing sexual images. It's just a matter of like teaching them how to have respect for women will inform their choices as they move forward in terms of who they want to associate with and who is going to be needy, desperate, and like a big bag of nuts. Whose hand was up? Montana.
I was just thinking, like, maybe a better way she could have talked to her kids is, like, oh my god, I completely forgot.
That's genius.
And on that note,
bring her thought back.
Sorry, that was so stupid.
Iceman, do you have a song for this?
I do. I think I can dissolve this entire problem through the gift of music.
I
And
love
it
it.
goes a little something like this. Don't pose for a selfie without your clothes. Don't pose for a selfie by making stupid fish lips. Don't pose for a selfie and flash a sideways peace sign and stick your tongue out like Miley Cyrus. Don't pose for a selfie anymore. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do we have to pay Eric Carmen for that, or is that
He's your friend.
888-531-7171. Are we still on the phone with Bree? You're telling me to tell other people to
Yeah.
call?
I
and
just
get a
want to
busy
thank
signal?
I want to thank Bree and Katz for spamming my entire hallmate chatter this
Oh,
weekend.
that's a whole other convo.
You're so welcome.
That was like 4 hours of nonstop notifications.
Oh, I love you guys for that. Thank you so much for torturing Ryan. That was the best fun I've had all week. Okay, so we have new chat rooms.
Pleasure.
Everyone has their own chat room, and I guess you guys got together and decided that you would spam Ryan's chat room.
Yeah.
And was there anything in there worth reading at all? Anything informative?
It's all one giant mush now in my head. I mean, like, it was just... I think they talked about, like, man purses at some point.
Oh,
I don't know.
excellent,
That's all I
excellent,
remember.
excellent. As long as you...
I was watching football,
Yeah,
so...
Cat
but-
wants your man purse.
Oh, Bree, keep it up, because you know what? As long as we keep Ryan busy with that sort of thing, he won't be looking at, skanky hoes on Instagram. Thank you, Bree, for calling. We love you. Are we staying on this topic, or should we go to... Oh, Montana.
Okay, so I remembered a little part of it on the topic of skanky hoes.
Yeah.
Just because, like, you're showing your body, like, that you shouldn't be ashamed of that, I don't think. Like, you should be ashamed of doing it so tacky. There are so many better ways you could disguise it, like, actually have a good photographer and call it an art piece. Not saying that you should, but that's a way to do it.
But isn't that what the 13-year-old did?
No, you just do it in your bathroom mirror. Like, okay, I'm not wearing a top, and then there's my toilet, and then there's like a shower. There's my dog.
The number of stupid skanky hoes is too damn high.
So you need
Too damn high.
you need a studio and you need lighting. Okay, Maddie.
Well, make it like art is basically what
Well,
I'm saying.
I would say make it like art after you're over 18.
Yeah. But be proud of it. Like, not take off your bra and be like, here's an Instagram filter.
I know that everyone is
be
curious
proud of
about
yourself, but also be comfortable.
Right, but your body is developing, and so it's like a new thing, and oh my god, and guys are looking at me, and like it's so tempting to want to see what power this new body holds for you. But I get it, and I understand what goes through boys' minds, and I've been told. So
With great power comes great responsibility.
Thank you. Exactly. Please, you
Spider-Man.
guys.
Wait,
it's
but
like,
that goes for both sides.
of course
Both
it
sides
does.
do.
Of course
Yeah.
it does,
Yes.
Maddie.
But I mean, I think that it's always important to remember that when you look at something and judge it about whether it's inappropriate or not, that is still your opinion. You can't just think that your opinion, even if you think it is a regular, average opinion, that still may not be the opinion of the person sitting next to you.
Well, Olivia was saying it was her opinion that I need to report these photographs as being
Exactly.
child pornography.
But I mean,
Actually, it's Facebook policy.
But
Yeah.
also, there's a difference between like seeing somebody like a girl in a bikini on at the beach.
Mhm.
Like someone who's very conservative can see that as inappropriate. So somebody just smiling and standing for a photo.
Right. No, that's a good point.
And then somebody else can think that's totally fine, really, really normal.
Well,
so you're
boys are going to have a
yeah.
sexual thought if they look at a fully clothed girl. So it doesn't take a lot to give a boy a sexual thought. So, if we're judging it on that, Mrs. Hall, then
Not
every
at all.
picture of a female is provocative. So
Louise,
and
boys are going to have a sexual thought if they look at a tree.
Yeah. You're just
some
looking at a
trees
wall.
are really hot.
Whoa, look at those branches.
Hey, gives tree hugger a whole new meaning.
Well, we have a lot of calls today.
We do. So maybe we should just stay on this topic. I know we have
Oh,
threat
oh,
thread
and-
theater, but go ahead.
And please, continue on with what you were saying. Sexual thoughts are not the thing we're trying to avoid because those are
They're
natural,
natural.
and it'd be weird to suppress them. That's just not human.
No, it wouldn't be right.
No. The dehumanization that sometimes can come with those thoughts, that is what we're trying to avoid.
Well, I would even argue with that because I think there's a certain amount of dehumanization that comes with a very puerile sexual thought where you're just thinking about sex. And I think human beings do that. And then they wake up from that thought and think about the person. But So I don't want to vilify
no.
someone who's had a sexual thought and like not thought about the person.
But there's a difference between a person who will just see them as a sexual object versus a person who can see them as both. I mean, like, that's better.
I think you can have a fantasy moment where they're just a sexual object and there's nothing wrong with that. But then when you meet the person, you have to look
Yeah.
at their eyes. Go ahead.
Of course.
We've got a phone call. Hello, Mrs. Colfer. Hello.
Sorry, I had a question.
Yes, please.
So I was asked to homecoming. I knew the guy, of course, and I don't know what to expect, and I'm extremely nervous.
Did you say yes?
Yes, I did.
Okay, tips for homecoming, you guys. She's not a practiced dater,
Just go.
and yeah, just treat it as a friend and go.
No, but I mean, or don't treat it as friend, but just go and just let it play itself out.
But I mean, if you start the date as like, yeah, we're just buddies going, and then if something feels romantic, go with the moment.
Yeah.
But like, don't put a ton of pressure. I mean, it's hard not to overthink how something's gonna go. Maddie,
Can someone explain to me what's homecoming?
homecoming. Okay, go
It's
ahead,
like
Montana.
Prom, but
With more cheerleaders.
but what?
Cheerleaders and
It's
floats.
like prom, but on a more low-key level.
And there's, like,
Okay. And I think there's a football game that goes.
Yeah, are
Yeah,
you guys
yeah,
going to the
football
football game?
yeah.
What football game?
The football game, like the
It
homecoming
gets the name
football
homecoming
game.
because it's
Oh.
like the first home game
I
of the
thought you asked
season.
us.
I
Right.
think is what it is.
But are you guys like going to go to the football game? Because that's more important.
oh yeah, under the
No.
bleachers.
You're
yeah.
not?
I am.
Oh,
All
you
right.
are? Okay, good.
Alex
Making sure.
Silver. Alex Silver has a point to make about dating.
We're gonna make this happen.
Yeah. All right.
The
So
man,
I'm
the
a
myth, the
professional
legend.
homecominger. I've done
I
it 4
find
times.
this angle very provocative.
And basically, homecoming's just like a good welcome back to school, and it gets everybody like in the hoorah kind of thing going on. And I don't know, it's just like a fun time of year, and it calls for a dance apparently.
Yeah, and so just go and have fun, and you don't have to kiss the boy, you don't have to hold hands with the boy, you don't have to do anything you don't feel ready to do. You get to say, you know what, let's just hang out. I'm just getting to know you. You always, both people in the couple get to say what's going to happen. It's not like he says this is going to happen and then it happens. You have as much of a voice in what happens as he does. Aaron.
Right, like, what does homecoming mean? It means a football game and a party, right? What does a date mean? It means the person that you are going with. That's all these things mean. Whatever else happens because it happens. It's not because this is a date. It's not because this is homecoming. It's just because that's how it worked out. So you have a lot of say in what happens, like Weezy's saying.
Yeah.
Don't read into this. It's just, you, like Ryan was saying, you go.
You go and have fun and really don't overthink it. All right, we're going to jump off the phone now, and I think that we should do a little bit of thread theater.
Bam.
Because we've been on this topic, and I think for the longest time, like in the history of Our Place Out Loud, that was a very, very excellent topic. So thank you, Mrs. Hall and Guy, for writing those articles, because there's still a lot to talk about with that. So, oh man, this is really, really changing gears really quickly.
But there's still like moral and ethical things. Like-
Yes, it is. It's still moral and ethical.
Or just beliefs, I guess.
All right, let me start with, I'm going to give the part of Sal to you, Ryan.
Bam.
And I'm going to give the part of Aspir to... I love your music, guys, man.
Aspire to inspire.
To Montana. And then let's start with... And I'm going to give a smiley face to you, Maddie. And all other parts to Mikio and... who did I leave out?
Aaron and Austin.
Austin.
Aaron
yeah.
and Austin.
Aus-
Well, I know Austin
Austin
doesn't want to talk.
Yeah,
so.
he may not want to.
All right, so let's open with Aaron. And this is Death Bunny.
It's
Oh, Jake, do you want a part in the play?
No, that's cool.
In a British accent? In a British accent, Jake from middle school?
On the bitter British accent.
Oh, God.
Come on, Jakey, open it up with...
I think we left
Jake,
the...
That's
Jake.
okay.
No,
but
Jake,
there's this-
you don't have to. It's
there
okay.
was-
Do it in a British accent, Jake. Just say opinions on Satan and God, please.
There was this one line in a middle school play where he had to be a British, like, safari guy.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
And they're like, where's the guy? And he's like, I think we left the old chap somewhere out in the desert or something like that. And it's the one line from any
That
middle
was
school
sadly
play I
the
ever
exact
remember.
quote. That was the exact quote.
Okay, please open by saying that, and then say opinions on Satan and God. In a British accent. Thank
That's
you.
okay. I'm fine.
Oh, I'll do it. Opinions on Satan and God. S.R. Buckley. Aaron?
Well, I don't believe in either one.
Sal.
They do exist. Satan was once a soldier of angels, but he showed pride to God when God asked him to bow before Adam. He didn't. He became corrupt, and he said, "My Lord, you created this human being from sand. You created me from fire, so I'm better than this human being." God got really angry. "You don't bow before my creation, and you disobey my orders. I I asked you to get out from here. Satan said, God, give me time till judgment day so that I can deceive your creation by afflictions, by wars, by disease, by poverty, by all the other things. So God said, you and your followers may burn in hell, but remember, this is my true followers will never be on the side of evil. They will always be on the side of good. So that's why I guess I have answered your question, miss. There was not a single period.
Yeah, it was pretty much a big, gigantic quotation from the Bible, but it actually gave us the basis for where these concepts originate, and it was really useful. Smiley face.
I personally don't think either are real, but there are others who do, and I really don't care if they do, as long as they are not making me feel threatened by forcing it upon me to believe either of them.
Sapphire.
They both exist to me because I'm Muslim.
Nizam. Aaron?
I believe in God, but God which is not depicted in holy books. However, I don't believe in Satan, which is a superficial character.
Ashley Rose. Aaron?
That is an interesting view. So how do you feel about spiritism and physics and people being possessed and all that is... I think she means psychics. And people being possessed and all that is it real?
Yes.
Say, oh, sorry.
And all that is typoed.
Yeah.
To go. Aaron?
They both are real.
Aspire to inspire.
Aspire to inspire. Thank you. Aspartame.
There's a good and bad in every single typo thing and circumstance on this earth. It's just reflected as Jesus and Satan to teach us, obviously, being on the good side is to help us persevere, and receive blessings in our life. And once we are involved with something bad, it can create emotional toll on us and hurt the ones we love around us, and eventually it can lead us to our own self-destruction. That is God, our parents, or others who care for us to tell us to have positive intentions and make good choices in order to save us from something trying to destroy us. Hope to help. #, God bless.
Thank you for saying hashtag.
I know.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Sharp sign.
So, just because it's the Jewish high holidays right now, we're in the middle of them.
Yes. I sat next to Adam Sandler at services. Just want to throw that out there.
Nice. I just wanted to point out something.
There is a God.
I just want to point out something that a lot of people don't necessarily think about. In Judaism, and they don't talk about it very often because it's sort of like a weird thing to talk about. But in Judaism, it's monotheistic entirely. Like there's just one God and that's it. There's no Father, Son, or anything. It's just you have God, and that God is the God of good and evil.
Oh, we don't have Satan?
No,
right.
No, he makes everything. Which what they thought about it was they're like, if this God made everything, then he must also have made evil. So he's the God of good and evil. But throughout the years, that was really kind of a lot of bad things happen to the Jewish people. How about let's put it that way? and throughout the years, the rabbis were like, this is kind of hard for us to say considering all the horrible things that have happened. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the time when you read through the prayers, it just says, the God who made everything. It used to say the God who made good and made evil. Now it just says the God who made everything. And if you go and you read the old translations, it'll be different. So that's something I just wanted to throw out there.
Ryan.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I learned something new every day. But I learned two things new today, but I don't remember what the first one was. I just remember that I learned
Not
something.
to be a skanky hoe. Go.
I guess not. But today, my views on this. I kind of am of the mindset that I try to avoid thinking about stuff like this because then I just don't sleep.
Oh, I know. It definitely...
If I start thinking about, people tell me the universe is ever expanding, scientifically, but what's outside of it? What?
It's confounding.
What? So I just don't think about it.
Yeah.
And same with this. Is there a God? Isn't there a God? So I just am I'm here, and if there's a God doing good things, will put me in a good spot, and if there's not doing good things, will put me in a good spot, so I'm just going to go and do good things and move on.
I think we should do good things because we expect nothing less from ourselves. If you want to believe in a power of good or a power of evil, there's definitely evil on the planet. You can't deny that there is. Is there some sort of force governing it or driving it or compelling it? I don't know. I think that being good is hard, and there's a lot of temptation put in our path where some people may have a rough life where it seems like making this choice will make their life easier when it's really a choice that affects other people adversely, and so they make bad choices. But for people that have been given a good chance in life, please continue to choose what's going to make things better for the greater good and not just what you need in this 1 second. And have good intention, like understand what's behind your intention, because whether you believe in God or you believe in evil or whatever is compelling your decisions, at the core of your decisions should be what you would expect from yourself. And to know that you're a child of the universe, and the universe expects great things from you, which are big things that will bring positive energy coming back flowing towards you. Montana?
So my whole opinion on this, not to get religious or anything, but like I believe there's like some sort of universal spirit that's like in humans that is for general good.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, there's a lot of bad in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we just have to try to understand both sides. Like, well, personally, I think the Christian religion, like the whole God, Satan thing, a lot of that could be symbolism, like, do good, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Good is good, bad is bad. And they just try to lay it out as simply as possible, but I think it's more complicated than that. Like,
Right.
if you think about Satan, a lot of the time in the Bible, he was horribly wronged. Like, he
Mhm.
played music, God didn't like him, he was like, you have too much pride. Go take care of bad people. Well, then if God's the whole, like, figurehead of the universe, and God doesn't like him, you're alone and sad and very, very warm.
So that's why we have very, very warm. So that's Montana, why we have a lot of kids in the app identifying with Satan, because that's
A
you're
lot of
basically
people identify
describing
with
Satan
Satan.
as a teenager
Yeah.
who's just kind of rebelling
Yeah.
against
Is
the
there like a-
parental figure.
Is there like a 2-term rule for God? Because it seems like it's been a really long time.
What do you
Like-
mean two-term?
Like-
Yes, he just keeps getting reelected.
I thought you meant like last name. God. Yeah, like what's his last name?
Because
We don't know that.
I think it's Windsor.
What's his first name?
God Windsor.
Here,
Sounds like an author of the Bible.
Keo?
Well, I thought that this thread was pretty civil, considering it's one
Right.
about
Yeah.
religion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My view is, I'm kind of the type of person who just tries to make things easy for me and make it work for me. So I did a lot of thinking, and I decided that it doesn't matter whether God exists or not. I'm gonna make the same decisions. I'm gonna try and do the best I can.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I am too.
And I don't like the word good and evil or bad or things like that, because something that can be viewed, it's like all about perspective, kind of, because something that can be viewed as good can actually be based in the worst intentions.
Right.
Or
That's
like-
why I try and base things on intentions. Like, what
Right.
was your intent? Did you say that because you wanted to embarrass that girl, or did you say that because you thought she should know that her slip is tucked into her pantyhose?
Exactly. So like I like the word try my best, because if I'm trying to do my best, then I can always explain why I did a certain thing. And I mean, I'm not going to try and convince anyone what I'm thinking unless they try and convince me what they're thinking, and then we can have a debate.
Mm-hmm. Maddie?
Just, it's very John Woodenish, all this.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
You
There's a lot of people listening who have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
But
John Wooden is-
basketball coach can be a preacher.
the John Wooden is not only the greatest spiritual leader of all time, but the greatest basketball coach of all time and the greatest person of all time. He is all that is good and all that is holy, confined into one UCLA basketball
And
coach.
we
This is
thought you
true.
weren't religious.
Is UCLA religion?
Does Maddie get to talk about something that doesn't have anything to
No.
do with basketball?
No.
Is UCLA a religion? I think it is to you.
Oh, am I allowed
Yes,
to talk
you
now?
get to talk. Yeah.
I was really unsure for a minute there. 'cause-
No, it's your turn.
Anyway, my personal opinion is that, everyone is allowed to have their opinion and is completely entitled to share it,
Mhm.
as long as they're not trying to force their beliefs onto other people.
Mhm.
They're allowed to share them, like saying, this is what I believe. That's totally cool and awesome. But when it's saying, you believe that's so not okay. You need to believe this because it's what I believe.
Or-
then I'm like, I don't want to hear it.
Or like, I'm a better person than you because I believe this
Exactly.
and you don't. And this is the only right way of thinking, or this is the only path to God. Because, I mean, I think there's billions of paths to God, and it's up to the person to decide what their path is.
And when people are like that, like, I don't want to hear it, I don't think anybody else should have to
And some
hear
people
it.
don't want a path to God. Maybe they just want a path to the love in the universe, or however they would define whatever they define.
Of Candy Crush.
Sorry, Candy Crush. Maddie's addicted to Candy Crush, and if anyone has, any kind of group therapy that she should be in, please call.
That actually exists.
I'm sure.
Specifically for Candy Crush.
Wait, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
You learn
It's that
three
toxic.
new things every day.
Yeah.
All right.
No, because that's because you can spend, like, by accident almost.
Do they have
so
a
much money.
hotline or something?
Oh, it costs money to
Like,
play Candy Crush?
No, but
No.
it can.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't, but it can.
It's like this thing where if you're like in the middle of a level, and because it gives you a certain number of moves to complete the level,
Right.
so if you run out of moves, it's like for $1 you can have 5 extra
Oh,
moves.
well, then there is an evil.
And it's, yes,
Yes, and it is
there is
microtransactions.
the evil in
There is.
life.
Satan
Ryan,
exists, and he exists in the heart of Candy Crush.
Your thoughts, please.
Ryan.
Did anyone notice that soon after John Wooden's passing came Candy Crush? Did anyone make that connection?
Oh my
Like,
God.
I'm just throwing it out there.
But
I'm
if
just throwing
John,
it out there.
Well, if John Wooden is up there looking out after us, why didn't he prevent this?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. It's up to him. But
oh, Austin is about to speak.
but okay.
Well, I thought the usual view of why, if God is all good, why doesn't he prevent all bad from happening if he's both all good, all knowing, and also all powerful? And the response to that is usually that, well, a lot of evil humans do to each other through their free will, and while God could prevent that, you would have to take away our free will. But we have to have free will, so he's not going to prevent us from doing what we want to do.
Well said. Aaron.
Yeah, Austin. Like I was tempted to say that, like something along those lines, because I was thinking about like how do we explain this, right? Like how do we explain? Okay, well if God is good, then how could there be evil? And like exactly what you said is right on the mark. Because how can a good God not give us free will to do what we want to do, right? And also, is good really good if that's the only option we have? Like, isn't it just the way things are? Like that? How can you say that is good if there's like not some level of choice in it?
Well, nature is part of bad things that happen. Nature is a huge part of bad things that happen. They have nothing to do with people.
Yeah,
Like-
but nature's
like-
neutral. I mean, like it's bad for us, but it's not itself a bad action.
Bears can be bad.
But they're not, like right. But that's not even what is happening here. What is this conversation?
You just dumbed it down.
I'm just throwing it.
Bears are bad.
It's because I saw this post the other day, and I'll make this kind of short. But it was it's from a show or a sketch or something, and it's this guy saying people who think that marijuana is safe because it's natural is a bad argument. Bears are natural; they're also dangerous.
Yes.
So
Keo.
that's fair.
Very, very fair.
What Austin said made me think of, I guess, a philosophical question. I don't know. Why didn't God give me the choice to have free will? What if I don't want free will?
what? And I'm not sleeping tonight.
That's really good. I have a comedian friend who says, "What if there were no hypothetical questions?"
Oh.
That can't be his because I've heard that too many times.
It is his. His name's John Mendoza. Everyone else who said it stole it from him. Go ahead, Ryan.
I had something to say. Okay,
Oh,
I guess
I don't know.
No, I do now.
Maddie, I had something to say.
No, I do now, except I can't hear myself because my headphones just died. Wait, they're kind of coming back. Maddie?
Fun fact of the day.
Yes.
Of all the species that live in the world, humans are the species that kill their own species the most. Like, no other species
More than
kills
vampires?
kills their own more
That's
than
not-
we do.
Well, that's not
Fun fact
necessarily
of the
true.
day.
What species killed each
From
other?
what I
Well,
know.
lots of different monkey variations, lots of
Okay,
aquatic mammals.
Okay, you know
They
what?
lots of different fish. They go all over each other.
I only get so much time to talk. Can you not argue with me about it?
We're here to argue. Montana.
What about the praying mantis who like mates with the guy and then eats it?
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
that
actually might be
That's
only
like half of
No,
people or mantises.
No, but that might actually only be because we are observing them while they're mating. Like it's the stress of our observation.
I don't think that
I
people
don't
But
think
like,
so.
if somebody, if that happened to people, like people watch other people mating,
I
they
wouldn't
wouldn't
eat
just
them.
like.
And
Not
don't do it on
usually.
Instagram.
Don't do it on Instagram. Keo.
Well, what Maddie said might be right if we're talking about actual number, but are we talking about percentage or number?
Right, but then also we have to take into account the fact that we're not just killing each other with our bare hands. We have like weapons that can take out lots of people.
And
were
monkeys
just-
have
right.
sticks.
Well, and rocks, yeah.
And sticks tied to rocks.
Ryan? Sticks tied to rocks?
No, but I was going to say, and this is something people tend to disagree with me on, but for me, it always comes down to what is right. And those people that we say do terrible things in the world, like in their eyes, they're doing something right. And I'm not saying that's justifying it, but it makes it hard to draw the line of what's right and what's wrong, because you see these people, like, not to take it to an extremist level, but like the members of the Nazi Party thought that was the right thing
They
to do.
had a cause that they thought was noble.
Right. So as much as they thought it was noble, it comes down to what's ultimately happening and where your morals stand with what happens to
Exactly,
people.
which is why we have to think hard about what choices we make in life. We have to go, Montana. Can you hold that thought for next
I feel
week?
powerful with
I
this
want to
music.
thank everyone for taking part. Rob Eisman and Eisenberg at the keyboards, everybody. Very delightful. We are Our Place Out Loud, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
I've been out there wandering, I've been in here wondering, hoping, reaching, wishing I could find my way. Then I found our place.